Y'all, let's talk about Cam the Taurus and Jazzy the Taurus. I doubt the internet has any birth chart information for Jazzy. I don't even, what's her last name? Let me see if I can just put it in. What's her name? Let me try to find. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired. I just woke up not too long ago and I'm tired. Let me see. Let me see if I can put in Cam Newton girlfriend name. Because I only know her by watch Jasmine Brown, okay? I don't think the internet going to have a chart for her. She has a very common name and she's not that famous. So I doubt, and I'm not going to waste my time drawing up a chart for her. All I know is that she's a Taurus. I do know that. Well, we could just look at Cam's chart. But y'all, I don't like that lady that was interviewing Cam. And it's probably just because of the bad taste she left in my mouth when she was fucking with Brooke on Basketball Wives. But I don't like that lady. Whether she was right or not, right or wrong with Cam, I don't like that lady. I mean, she didn't say nothing about Cam that we don't all already know. I'm trying to see if I can find a chart. Jasmine. Did I spell her name right? Jasmin. She don't got no E on the end. Let me take it off. I don't like that lady. And why all of a sudden she went on the show with Nick Cannon and now she on with Cam? I guess it's just how the media work, because a person is on one show, they doing one thing, and then they get put on all these other shows. And I realize, not that this is anything new about the industry, but I realize about the industry, you really do. It's they keep it all in the family. You always find out people in the industry, family was in the industry, or they family is of somebody that's in the industry, or cousins, or I don't even want to say know somebody. It be in the bloodline. That's why all this toxic shit just keep going from generation to generation, getting worse and worse, because they really do keep that entertainment shit in the family. But anyway, I don't see a birth chart for her. Let's see, but let's look at Cam. So I know they're Taurus and Taurus, right? And I'm very familiar with the sign of Taurus. I've been close with a lot of Tauruses throughout my life, as far as friendships and stuff like that. Me being a Cancer. So just naturally, I've had friends, my family members and stuff that have been Tauruses. We've been pretty close. I would say Taurus, Leo, Sagittarius, and Capricorn, and Geminis. I've been really close to. I don't have that many Geminis I've been close to, but the ones that I have known I've been close to. So I've always known that Cam was a Taurus. I know that Jazzy is a Taurus. So I could pretty much, I really don't even need to pull up the chart to talk about their profile, their personality profile. Because to me, I know a lot of people talk about the ascendant, the moon, this, that, and the other. But it's a lot of stuff that can be seen just from the sun sign. But I figured, hey, we can talk about them Taurus to Taurus, and then we could pull up Cam's chart and at least take a look at it. But I don't like that lady that was interviewing Cam. I just don't, that he was interviewing, shall I say, that psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever she is. And even though she did have a lot of good points, I do believe, of course, as far as traditional things go, of course, if you're going to have all those kids, you will want to see people be married, the guy try to maintain one home or whatever. But that doesn't mean that people, even if they get married, say Cam was to cheat or have outside kids or whatever, and still can create broken homes, right? So I just feel like somebody with the level of money that Cam has, or the level of wealth, you really can't tell them how to run their lives if they're going to financially take care of their kids. Do you want the father in their home all the time? I grew up in a home with my father Do you want both parents around all the time? Is that the most ideal situation? Yes. But she did mention it. She did say, which I'm glad she did say it. Just because a person comes from a two-parent household doesn't mean they came from a necessarily good household either. You have to have good people, because there's a lot of dysfunctional people that come out of two-parent households. So I just think even though I don't agree necessarily, or it's really not about agreeing or disagree, because I agree for people to live their lives the way they live them. And Cam's philosophy is Cam's philosophy, whether it's based or rooted in his fears of marriage, his fears of whatever, you know what I mean? Or maybe he just likes their freedom, or whatever the case. Or it just takes him as a Taurus. It may take him a long time until he meet that one, or till he finally say, okay, well, for financial reasons or for whatever reasons, I'm just going to go ahead and get married, or whatever the case. Whatever is keeping him from getting married, I kind of feel like, because he does financially take care of his kids. And if you follow Cam's, I think I used to follow Cam on Instagram. I'm not sure if I follow him anymore, because the script he used for his writings just give me an automatic headache anytime I try to read any of his captions. I may still follow him. I don't remember. It's not like he posts I don't recall him posting a whole hell of a lot. But when he did post, he would post stuff with his kids, and he seems to be, at least from what you could tell on the internet, a very active father. And back to my point about, even if Cam was married, just like he was with the girlfriend that, I'm sure it's not his first girlfriend, but the girl that he first started having his kids with for a long time, the one he was with for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, however many years, he had a baby, seems like towards the end of that relationship, or while he was with her, or whatever the case. I don't know his personal business and what really happened, but that's what it says in the media, on the streets. He could have done that even if he was married, and create broken homes. Like, men can create broken homes even if they're married. So I guess my point is, it's best to not force that until that's what he decides that he wants to do. If he has the funds and he is an active father, then I think for his life, for the women that choose to be a part of that, then that is what at least works for them for now, is what I'm saying. And I tried to say it in a very neutral way, because it's really not an agree or disagree sort of situation, right? If I was in that situation with Cam and I was going to have kids by him, of course, I feel like if you have, most women who have kids want to be married to the person they're having kids by. But at the end of the day, with the level of funds and money that Cam has, and the fact that he wants to be a father, he is an active father. He says he wants more kids. You know your child is going to be financially taken care of, and he's going to play a role in their life, even if it's not an in the home, full-time, 24-hour, 24/7 role. So I'm just saying, life isn't perfect. People aren't perfect. And even if you do what people say what the right thing is, or what the traditional thing is, and you have that picket white fence and the picture looks pretty, doesn't mean it really is. Because people still cheat, they still get divorced, and broken homes can still be created. And I think it's easy to say a lot of things about what people should do and judge people's situations, but for the most part, even though I like Cam, but he has his asshole ways about him. He's one of those guys that has his assholes ways about him. But when it comes to his kids and his financial status, I really can't say nothing bad about him, just because he says he has this fear of getting married, and he has like 8 children with 3 different women, right? So looking at Cam's chart, number one, like we talked about, he's a Taurus, and his Taurus and his Venus is in the same sign, as you can see down here in Taurus. I wish I had a pointer, because I'm doing this on a screen record, but I can't point to what I'm talking about. But right here in Taurus is his how you draw on the screen? Oh, I don't know. But right here in Taurus, I'm just making it big, is his sun and his Venus. So his sun and his Venus is conjunct. Let's see what it's, actually, I'm going to say his sun and his Venus is conjunct because his Venus is at the 0 degree of Gemini, which really explains a lot. Looking at the chart up here, it kind of looked like it was going to make it at the 29th degree of Taurus or 28th degree of Taurus, but it's actually, it has it at the 0 degree of Gemini. But I do want to preface this, and I have this on the settings on a whole sign chart. I do want to preface this by saying they don't have a time for Cam's birth. So these degrees could move. Like a birth time could put his Venus, even though the birth time, I don't know what they set this on. I don't know if they set this on noon. I know most times when they draw up a chart, they'll put the birth time at noon, 12 noon, if they don't know the true birth time. But say like his birth time was really 1 o'clock in the morning, or it changes enough, it could move that Venus 1 degree forward or back. I can't remember off my head how many days it takes Venus to move through a sign, but that wouldn't be like a planet like Jupiter or Neptune or Pluto, where it moves so slow that the time would probably barely change the degree, because we know we had the date right. So a time for those outer planets that move super slow is really not going to change it a lot. But Venus may move fast enough. So like the personal planets, we know the moon, the time could change this moon. So that they have his moon at 10 degrees Leo. But if a birth time is put in, I'm sure the degrees of the moon, because the moon moves so fast, it goes through a sign in about 2 or 3 days every month, then it'll probably change that 10 degrees Leo, 10 degrees 20 seconds Leo, if you put in a birth time. But Mercury moves fast enough, Venus moves fast enough, Mars moves fast enough to where if you put in a time, it could change those degrees maybe by 1 or 2 degrees or something like that. And even more if it moves a little fast. I think Mars may move faster than Venus, and I think Mercury may move faster than Venus as well. But without a time, it's just hard to trust that 0 degree Gemini, but it's probably close enough because Venus don't move that damn fast. But it could push it into like 1 degree Gemini, or it could really be like 28 or 29 degrees Taurus. But I thought he was at the end of degrees of Taurus just looking at the chart, but he's actually, as you see here, it listed out and says his Venus is 0 degree Gemini. So I'm gonna say it's a conjunction. I usually look at signs in the same house as a conjunction, even though his Venus, they have his Venus at 0 degree Gemini, because it's 0 degrees, not fully all the way in that Gemini house, and his sun is at 20 degrees Taurus. I'm gonna say his Venus and his sun are conjunct. Even though using this whole sign chart, if it's moving, his Venus is moving into Gemini, it's not technically in that same house, but it's within 10 degrees. So I'm going to say it's close enough to kind of be a conjunction. So and then the Venus is just coming out of Taurus where it would have been exalted, right? So number one, I got something in common with Cam, and I know how that Venus, that really, if his Venus is really in Gemini, especially at the low degrees of Gemini. So even if it was at 28 or 29 degrees of Taurus, but especially at these low degrees of Gemini, 0 degrees, 1 degrees, 2 degrees, 3 degrees. And actually, I'm going to, because I can relate to this placement, I also have my Venus in Gemini. It really helps me understand Cam even more. And yes, he may have a fear of divorce, right? Because I'm like the same way. Like, I'm the type of person, getting married to somebody is something where you don't want to get a divorce. And it takes a lot to get married to somebody, where to some people, they could just marry for any reasons, and they can marry over and over and over. But I truly do believe Cam when he say, even if his reasons he's saying maybe it's not his reasons deep down inside, maybe his reason deep down inside is he really does like that freedom, because of Venus and Gemini, they do appreciate that freedom. It's Gemini, they're changeable, they their attention can be drawn to different things at all the time, and his Venus is there. So that's speaking to his love nature. They like to keep it exciting. They don't like to be tied down necessarily, right? They love, you know what I'm saying? Because that gives Venus like a mercurial feeling being in Gemini. So they're curious. They a lot of their love rest in intellect, in the mind. Can they relate to you in the mind. It's more of a mental thing than maybe even a physical thing when you have that Venus in Gemini. So I completely believe Cam, and that is very telling that his Venus is in Gemini, because that speaks more to freedom, that Venus being in an air sign. If his Venus was more so in Taurus and not at those end degrees of Taurus or that beginning degrees of Gemini, he might have been married some time ago, or might have been more apt to settle down. But looking at his moon in Leo, very outgoing person, as you can see, attractive personality, and he does have a sense of loyalty when it comes to his partners, as you see. And that moon combined with that sun, Taurus is fixed and Leo is fixed. So when he gets in those partnerships, he does like stick around. Like, if you look at Cam's relationships with the first woman he started having his kids by, the lady he had that baby on when he was with the first lady, and Jazzy, it seems to me that he has had at least friendly relationships with all of these people, even though they didn't get married or anything like that. Meaning, okay, we may not be married and we may have kids together, but I still have a sense of responsibility for you or loyalty to you or something like that, right? With that Leo moon. But Cam does like the attention. He does like the Leo moon paired with that Venus Gemini, especially at the low degrees, especially at 0 degrees. That's very pronounced. That's why he can have a lot of guys, if they have a kid or have several kids, that may even prompt them to marry, even if they don't want to marry. Like, okay, I'm going to get married because I have all of these kids. Because notwithstanding the fact that we have to consider Cam has money. So that throws in a different kind of piece to it as well. Because a lot of people with money, not just men, but women too, they want to protect their assets and their finances when they have some money. So they might not be so quick to jump in to marriages or partnerships. So if they do, they may have certain prenups or things like that. So that's an air of it. But I feel like with Cam, if he wasn't so outgoing and he wasn't interested in so many different like things, as far as different women may interest him, just that not being tied down, that freedom to show his outgoing personality, his gregarious personality, as you can see by the way that he dresses. And I think you could see that a bit in his Leo moon and that 0 degree Venus in Gemini, which is also conjunct his Mercury and his Jupiter. So you see he has the talk show, and then the Jupiter is what sextile in the moon. So he's got that like big personality. Like I said, he has that over the top dressing. You know, Leo is the lion. They're going to stand out. They're going to, they like to do things that stand out and take charge. He built like a lion. He is such a big guy, but he has a really nice body, but he's such a big guy. I've always thought Cam was very, very, very attractive, but I think Taurus is typically, y'all. I know there's some Tauruses that are not, but Taurus is typically an attractive sign to me. So, with his Mercury being in Gemini too, that's no surprise. He has the talk show, right? And it actually got popular. It ended up getting big. And I didn't know how well Cam was going to do in the talk show arena, because I started watching his podcast, his talk show, whatever you want to call it, when it first started. Like I said, I follow Cam, but it ended up getting big. He does have that gift of gab in Gemini, so that was a really good direction for him to go after the football career really didn't pan out. And then I'm just looking at his chart. This is the first time I really even looked at his chart, noticing he's got that North Node. I think, I'm not going to go into the North Node and the South Node because his time is not necessarily correct. So that would change that. But we know it's either going to be Pisces and Aquarius. I think on this chart, he's got his North Node, which is here. I think it's got it at 0 degrees of Pisces. But like I said, I don't want to go into that too much because they don't have the time. Yeah, they got it down here. North Node, 0 degrees of Pisces, which would put his South Node at 0 degrees of Virgo. But I don't want to talk about that, and then it's not accurate. But I'm just looking at his Saturn in Capricorn, Neptune in Capricorn, Uranus in Capricorn. He's got a Pluto in Scorpio. Opposes his sun. I'm just looking at what else is going on. His Mars in Cancer. I think that's the passive aggressiveness. Like, you could tell Cam, for example, like when he had Charleston White on his podcast, and Charleston White is like this outspoken. I can't stand Charleston White. I really cannot stand him. He just talks a lot of shit, and he's a Virgo, and I just feel like people like that, especially Virgos, they could talk a lot of shit to like people who are dumber than them. And because they could have that mercurial gift of gab, but they really they just be talking a lot of BS. They just be talking. But I think Cam handled that very, very well. And you could see with his Mars in Cancer, like, people, like, he doesn't go off on people, but if you push him, he will get with you. Like that video that was going around of him fighting, and he held his own against several people. He didn't need no help because he have that passive aggressive nature. He don't necessarily be all in your face like his Leo moon. That Mars Cancer kind of calms him down, but if he has to get with you, he will. It's kind of like I'm not a killer, but don't push me type of person. Like Cam comes off as a very nice, kind of laid back guy, but you really don't want to push him because then you will see what that can bring out of you. And I don't know his houses either because we don't have the time. So can't really say what house is what. His Chiron is next to his Cancer. So maybe that's just his lesson. And I feel like just looking at his chart, a lot of his fears just come from his home life. His father being a pastor, him having, just those very traditional parents, traditional and religious parents. And it seems all good. I mean, Cam is a godly man. He was raised in religion, but I think he saw a lot of dysfunction, even though he don't say that. And he says it was like the best thing ever. I don't think it was. And that's where his wound is with the father and the mother, as you can see with Chiron next to so close conjunct to Mars like that in Cancer, and then opposing Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. The home life, the mother and father relationship, that religion, the sternness, all of that was not what it is cracked up to be. And I know we make jokes, we've made jokes about Cam, me and my friends in the circle, whatever, just because of his dressing and his flamboyancy. You make little gay jokes about Cam and stuff like that, but who knows? Cam may really, I don't know. He may really want to go both ways. I don't know. The society, you can't really say just because somebody does certain things, they down for that. But nowadays, it just seems like there's no boundaries. Everybody's down for everything. And if I knew about this North Node being more in the Aquarius or the Pisces, that would give it. If it was over in that Aquarius, I was like, yeah, Cam may really just want a little bit of everything. But because his straight-laced religious background, he may not want to say that. But for now, I'm not gonna say that's his thing. I don't think so. Definitely think he's into women, but he Cam a little questionable sometimes. I understand dressing different, but some of the stuff he wear just be whack. He's gotten a lot better lately, though. I feel like since he's been doing that podcast, I don't know if he got a better stylist, but I feel like he's been a lot better lately in the episodes I've seen him on, and I think things I've seen him wear I actually like. And it's never that I don't like what Cam wear. I just don't like it as a whole. It's too a lot of it is too feminine for his big ass body. You too fucking big for that shit, feminine ass shit. And then it's just the stuff he mixes together. Cam is a person who wear a nice piece, but you don't put the pieces together nicely. Like, all that shit should be on a separate outfit. But yeah, I mean, I see by his chart that Cam does like his freedom. He doesn't like to be tied down. He likes a really intellectual woman. And you can see that with his Venus in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini. He's got heavy Mercurial Jupiter energy. And then he's got some parental wounds with the mother and father with that Chiron conjunct Mars in Cancer, that passive aggressiveness. And his Leo moon really shows his personality standing out and things like that. And he sticks to his guns because he has major planets in the fixed signs. I mean, his sun in Taurus, his moon in Taurus, those are fixed signs. You're not going to change how Cam feels. Cam is not going to change how he feels until he changes how he feels. So that was Cam. And I got stuck in that chart. I really didn't want to go into that chart that long. I hope my recording is even still working because I know I ain't got no space on this phone. I deleted like 4,000 pictures. I put them on a disk. I'm trying to get rid of all these pictures on my phone to free up space because I got like 15,000 pictures and videos. I put like four because it was taking forever. So I transferred like 4,000 pictures, but then I deleted them. And like the next day I saw all the pictures was back on my phone. This iPhone get on my nerves. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Jazzy as well and her being a Taurus female. And I think a lot of people have made videos or they talk about Jazzy because she was a female that was kind of like against the pick me wave, and she used to do certain videos because she's like a comedian, I guess she want to call herself. I just think she like a internet personality. That's what you just call these people now that get popular from Instagram or making YouTube videos. You just put your personality on there, and I guess that makes you a comedian or whatever. But she used to do those skits where she act like the ghetto girl, or she talk about having, just confidence in yourself and doing you as a woman, not being a pick-me at first. But then when she got with Cam, she turned into what she was kind of, what her message was against, like this whole pick-me female thing. And I don't think whatever kind of female you want to be is what you want to be. Nobody can tell you how to be in your personal relationships with your man. We all got to learn our lessons in life. But I think what a lot of people don't understand about Jazzy is she is a Taurus. I'm telling y'all, astrology just will tell you what you need to know at the very least about somebody's basic character profile. If anybody has ever known Taurus females, males, really the females, the males too, they actually the same, but because the female is a female and we are the naturally receptive ones, it get taken to a whole nother level. But when they are in relationships, they don't see nobody but their partner. So Jazzy going from the thing she was saying at first to what she's saying with Cam, that is a Taurus female. Like, they the type of people, if they get in a relationship, that person come over everything. They ain't going out with homegirls barely. They ain't doing nothing. Now, I'm not saying every Taurus female is like this, because a lot of Tauruses, period, just be homebodies. They can be social. They might have certain passions and talents that they do. They might sing. They might write. They might be creative in some kind of way because they rule by Venus. So a lot of Tauruses will have a creative talent that they pursue in their life and they put their time and attention to. But outside of that, they'll go out here and there and things like that, but their world really will revolve around their partner. And a Taurus female with her partner, a Taurus male as well, but I'm just going to focus on Jazzy and the female right now. They can pretty much kind of acquiesce and really, really aim to please their partner. Like, because a Taurus female is the type of person, even if it's not about a partnership or a boyfriend, say they going to a family gathering or y'all gonna hook up, y'all gonna link up. They know what to bring. Like, they'll have the snacks. This is like my little cousin. They will have the snacks. They like comfortability. They're a Venus sign. They like things that are comfortable. Aesthetics. They know how to get the aesthetics right. So whatever is going to make things comfy, have the best food, get your blanket, like all of that, right? So they know what to bring to the situation to make it a comfortable situation. That is how they cater to their partners when they have a partner. So I think Jazzy is really just being true to herself. Now, however that pans out with Cam, and I know it doesn't sit well with a lot of people in the public, and it's if you're a Taurus female's friend or family member, it's a little nerve-wracking because you be like, girl, snap the fuck back to reality, because they can just ignore all realities of their partner and just see like this Venus rose-colored glasses fairy tale personal situation, right? But the good thing about Taurus people and the Taurus woman, they tapped into their intuition and things like that. So eventually, they give their partner the benefit of the doubt, but eventually they'll stand on something if things just not right, or they see certain things that they don't like about the relationship, right? But in the beginnings, while they got those rose-colored glasses on and things are going well to them, they are going to be that person that Jazzy is portraying herself to be. So you can't tell. And then shit, for Cam Newton, how many people wouldn't? I the fuck would. I would. So shit, you can't be too hard on her, because it's number one is Cam Newton. That's just the most important part. He fine as shit, ain't got money. Like, come on. And then number two, that's really in her personality and zodiac profile to be that way. But she's not a dumb girl, nothing like that. But she probably just enjoying her situation, and she probably really love that man. And who knows? Maybe she will be the one that Cam marries, or whatever the case. But even if not, they seem like they at least had some sort of friendship or understanding in the meantime. And whatever she goes through, that's lessons for her to learn. She ain't gonna, whatever videos or things people say about her, I mean, it's just people living their lives. But some people had to live it out on the internet. Whether they making mistakes or not, we all do. So that Taurus and Taurus combination, I mean, I just see why she acts the way she acts. And I see why Cam acts the way he acts. And it's kind of more apparent when looking at his chart and seeing all of this Gemini energy down there in that Leo moon. So that was just a little something about Cam and Jazzy. And I guess we'll see where the relationship goes. But I wish Cam the best. And I wish Jazzy the best too, whether it's together or whether it's separate. Because I like Cam. He's annoying sometimes, but I like Cam. And I like Jazzy as well. All right, that's it. Madam X Frequency Real Radio. I'm out. I'm out of here.